Leeds United made some very, very big changes to this game, and things worked out quite well in the playoff semi-final first leg against Norwich City. So we've had that first playoff leg, and we were a little bit scared going into the match because of recent performances that haven't quite gone our way. But at the end of the day, the Whites did exactly what they needed in this match. So let's talk about it, and let's talk about how it affects the game on Thursday as well, because that is going to be absolutely colossal. But first, well, I've got a first and I've got a second. If the audio is a little bit funny, I'm sorry. This is the third time I'm trying to record this and the audio has gone wrong each time, and I've kept trying to fix it and it hasn't. So we will find out if that's worked. I'm not recording it again, though. In addition to that, I'd hugely appreciate if you could subscribe and stick around. We're building a nice, friendly, happy community here where everyone is pleasant to each other. So if you want to hop in. Everyone's welcome. But diving into the video, we got a little bit of team news before the game, specifically an hour before the game when the lineup came out. I know, it's weird. And we all saw that there was no Joel Peru in this match, but Archie Gray was in, which surprised me a little bit because this is a system that Leeds haven't played in yet this season. Effectively, it led to us playing with a midfield 3 rather than a standard 4-2-3-1 with a number 10 that we've got. Sort of. I'll get into that in a little bit more detail going on. It shows that we've learned from recent results and we've thought, let's pack out the midfield a little bit because that's where opponents are getting good chances against us. But outside of that, there weren't any major changes with the way that we were playing. So ultimately, what did this mean? Gray going into midfield, basically, in my opinion, meant that slicing through us, sorry, I've got the West Brom match on in the background, was significantly harder for other teams to do. There were more bodies in midfield, and in addition to that, he had plenty of energy. So whilst on paper he was playing as a number 10, he was happy to do that defensive work as well. After all, if you've played as a right back for the entire season, you're going to not mind when it says go box to box a little bit and help with the attack and the defending. This meant that going forward, we had another person in the press because Ruter and Gray would sort of work as a pressing team. But going back, we weren't outnumbered. Peru is someone that will do one of those two jobs and rarely both of them at the same time. Same for Ruter. Neither of those players, and I'm not blaming them for this, are players that have a huge background in defending. So having Gray, that this season has been a right back, do that is great. This also meant that Jorginho Ruter was in the 9, basically playing as a false 9, trying to do the creation stuff for the wingers, whose entire sort of idea here was to cut in from the sides, as per. I've had a look at some of the negatives from this match and some of the positives. I'm going to start with the negatives because I think there are fewer of those than the other way around. A slight issue that I had was there was a little bit of loose passing all the way across the pitch. Now, this is sort of normal. This happens in any game, but as to bring up one example, it felt like a lot of the time the passer and the pass receiver were a little bit unmatched with each other. There was a spot where Meslier had the ball and Grove was asking for it a few yards in front of him, but Grove had 3 players around him. Meslier sees that Grove's asking, thinks must have an idea, plays the pass a little bit too hard, I think. Grove's first touch doesn't work out and suddenly we're under threat. Loose passing like that can lead to mistakes, and individual mistakes in the playoffs can screw you. The more we can cut down on those, the better. And they are just mistakes, they happen. But a little bit more focus in those situations could be absolutely key to making it to Wembley. In addition to that, I've got a couple of little worries about the effectiveness of the wingers. Somerville and Nonto had a few little troubles throughout the game. Somerville tried to do his thing a lot of the time. But simultaneously, Willie Nonto had a couple of issues, including temperament issues, because he got booked for sarcastically applauding the referee. But I think the effectiveness on the wings increased drastically when we brought on Dan James. Jayden Anthony was good as well. They were both providing a little bit of a threat. So I think a little bit more directness in the second leg would also be essential. But we do have a hell of a lot of positive to get from this match as well. I told you, more positives than negatives from this. There are a good few of them. And I am more than happy to discuss positive things about Leeds United. For the most part, when we had shots, they were coming from dangerous areas. We had, I think, 6 shots in that match. They had 7, but theirs were a lot rangier than ours. A lot coming from set pieces that weren't actual threats. 4 of our 6 shots came from within the box, making them like reasonably high value opportunities. Get the right person on the right shot at the right time in those areas, you've got a much better chance of scoring than the other team does from 20 yards out. In addition to that, limiting those opponents to long-range speculative efforts is massive for the playoffs. Because as I've mentioned, it takes one mistake, one shot from in the box, and then suddenly the dynamic changes. Suddenly, if that happens at Elland Road, they're just going to sit in and let us play in front of them. Limiting it to long-range stuff not only makes it easier for your goalkeeper, but it makes it harder for their forwards, which is lovely. And importantly, I think we got some strong performances from some important players. And this isn't just sort of saying important players in terms of they've been important for the season. More, it was important that these players had good performances. One example, Sam Byram. A couple of times he might get caught out of position or play the wrong pass or something like that. But he played a big part going forward in this game. And when a forward got past him, he was always one of the people that would recover quickly, hop in with a firm challenge and win the ball back. That was huge. The number of times we were able to cut off counter-attacks like that, brilliant, and it made sure that we stayed in the game. Add on to that, I think Glenn Kamara had a good game. His range of passing was good as well. A few nice long ball switches, especially one across to Byram on the right flank was big, and it meant that we had a new element to our game. I think it was good that Firpo had a decent match as well, because that shows that that back line is working really effectively and ticking over. I do think Rutter and Somerville weren't quite at their best. Neither was Nonto, but Gray did his job really effectively. And he was a big part of the next positive, which is the passing patterns. All the way through this game, you could see really good triangles forming, not only in terms of the locations of the passes, but the speed of them. We were playing a lot more zippy stuff, playing into space where players are ready to run onto it and cutting some nice little spaces open. And we didn't score, but we had the foundations for what you need to do to score goals, which is good. And it is 0-0, and that is a thing. But at the end of the day, I think we were unlucky not to win. We had the penalty shout that I'm convinced should have been a penalty still. We had the ball in the back of the net, which was narrowly offside, and I think we had the better of that match. Although that is an open conversation, to be fair. First half, they looked a little bit better. Second half, we looked a good amount better. And in the second half, we saw Dan James come on, and it's not only good news that Dan James is fit, but he's looking fairly dangerous at the same time. Dan James' directness means that we have someone to get to the byline and cut the ball back. In the second game, if he's more fit, I'd love to see more minutes for Dan James, purely because when he's running at a tired defence, boy, can he make a mess. And boy, will that defence be tired. So, rather than talking about Thursday in the sort of loose rhetorical sense, let's talk about it properly. Let's talk about the game on Thursday. It's going to be absolutely massive. And Elland Road is going to be bouncing. Getting tickets for this game proved to be nearly impossible when it was just the members purchasing them. Maybe, hopefully, I can get in on the ballot, but who knows? And having that Elland Road crowd behind us will be colossal, because Elland Road is somewhere that we've only lost twice all season. It's been a really good ground for us, and I really like it. In addition to that, Norwich have very poor away form. Norwich fan that I've been talking to is not confident in the slightest about them going away from home, and basically said, I might just not watch it, after he saw that it was 0-0 in this game, because that's how little he thinks they can win away from home. Add to that the fact that we know that this 4-3-3 structure works. I think we can give it a go in the match in the middle of the week, and I think it'll be fantastic. And at the end of the day, let's just have a really nice Wembley day out, shall we? That'd be quite fun. Nice trip to Wembley, beat West Brom, into the Premier League. Lovely stuff. Promotion isn't a must, but damn, promotion's going to feel good if it happens. Either way, I don't know what you think. Let me know in the comments down below. The comment section is something that is hugely underrated, I think, on YouTube, because it gets those conversations going. And even if I disagree with you, I'm really happy to have those chats. It's nice growing a nice little positive community here. Subscribe if you aren't yet. That's always hugely appreciated. Like the video, and you could even become a channel member. All that money right now is going towards Prostate Cancer UK, and it's great to see people get on board. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you later. And to Leeds United, if you need persuading in any way, shape or form, the last time I was at a home match and we lost was February 2022. Just if you want to pick and choose people to put in the ballot. That'd be quite nice of you. See you later.